But look at the difference in the containers. What's cool about this one, it blooms 24/7. Give her a flower.
I love it.
What color, is it a purple?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it's so big that it won't close in the evening. It'll stay partially open.
This is always the fun part. It's like the decorations on the Christmas tree.
Whoa! That's a lily.
All right, Laura and Aaron, this is my 13-month-old Aquascape ecosystem pond out here in Heber City, Utah. And I'm having a little project getting ready for your build, and that is taking all of these beautiful water lilies that will look like this eventually. That is a Juan Visa, my gorgeous Juan Visa in here, in your pond. But I first had to transport these probably about 100-pound containers back here, but you can see there's going to be some pretty exciting flowers that you're going to get. I got 7 plants. I'm going to bring 3 for my pond, and this is one that's going in my pond, and the rest for you, including this very cool plant, the ruffle, that blooms 24 hours once it starts blooming, so 3 to 5 days. I'm going to take each one of those pots and kind of fill up my pond for a week until your project next week. But I want to take you back a week to where I picked all of these plants up so that you could see the guy behind all of these aquatic plants. And eventually you're going to have plants that look just like this in your pond. Well, I'm thinking that is him right there. That is Jordan Reese, and we have made it. We have made it to the middle of nowhere, about an hour outside of Flagstaff, to check out one of the nicest, there it is, water lily collections anywhere in the country. Jordan?
That's me.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to finally meet you. How you doing, buddy?
Great, nice to meet you.
Oh, look at this.
This is Phil. And
Hi, Phil.
Phil.
Nice to meet you. And Ula?
This is Ula.
Wow, this is great. Oh my goodness. Well, I am excited to see your water lily collection, which I can see right here. Wow, look at these.
You get unique ones where you get a half purple, half blue.
Yeah.
Or you get a solid purple, all out of the same plant.
And what plant is that?
This is purple zebra.
So how many varieties do you have here, Jordan?
We have about 1,000 varieties. We have auxiliary locations around Sedona and Cottonwood.
How far are we from Sedona?
We're about 15 minutes.
Oh, I love Sedona. That's where I got engaged.
Awesome.
Look at this. You got like a double lily here. Is that 2 different plants or 2
This
different?
one just got officially named yesterday. So this is from Florian Hennu in France. This is his mother.
And it just got named. But you think you got about 1,000 varieties.
1,000 varieties.
I don't know if anybody has more varieties than you. What do you think?
There's a couple people in the world I know of that.
But in America?
In America, no. Not
Okay, you're listen, top guy in America is pretty darn good to visit. Wow, this is fantastic. So are we gonna be able to pick out a few specialty lilies from my pond in Utah? And also, I told you I was gonna get some, did I tell you? Laura from Garden Answer.
Yes.
So we're gonna get her 3 water lilies and maybe three for myself. And then I'm gonna haul them 8 hours back to Utah and then another 6 hours north to Oregon.
You are a traveling fool.
So Jordan, I got one question. You got 1,000 varieties here. Do you have a Carla Sunshine?
I do not.
Oh! So guys, I named a water lily after my wife. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Carla. Have you seen or heard of Carla Sunshine?
Yes, I've seen it. I've heard of it. And I've seen pictures, but I didn't know that was yours.
So that is mine, or that is my wife's, and I named it Carla's Sunshine, S-O-N, because we have 2 boys. So pretty romantic to name a water lily after your wife, don't you think?
This is a new one that is kind of wowing to me. It's from Florian Hennu as well. Picking this one is because you can tell it has like a yellow undertone, and then it opens out flat and it gets really large. And every time we walk by it, we stop and look at it and say, that is a really neat looking plant.
And it's called?
I would have to say Tyree.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. I would call that Tyree too. And this is the leaves have some variation in the coloring.
Yep, these are pretty typical for an ISG to get random. We kind of say like the Arc-and-Seal pattern, because Arc-and-Seal's a hardy lily that gets like the painted look in it.
I like that. I like that a lot. So okay, so all right, I think we've found one for this will be for Laura, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
One of my personal favorites from one of my favorite hybridizers, Matthew Koch.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Is Luxor here.
Yes.
And this is one I was thinking would be great for Shack as well. Because it
Yeah.
gets massively large. It was created from the Egyptian blue lily, the sacred blue lily that most people are familiar with the name of at least. And that was the pollen parent that created this ISG. So you're seeing some of the sacred Egyptian blue lily traits even come out in the pads and the staples, the outer parts of the flower when it closes. They have a speckling, which is trademark to what a Cerealia does. So
all the way from Egypt.
All the way from Egypt. And Matthew created this out of Wisconsin.
Yes. Yes. All right. So there's a possible another one there.
Okay, so this is one of the newer ISGs. This is Christmas Eve.
So beautiful.
So here's the rhizome. This is what you call the crown. That's where all the new growth comes out of. And this is just the back of the rhizome. That's where we had cut it off. So you can see this is where no more growth is gonna start. You might get some babies that'll come from the side. So when you plant this, you're knowing that this plant's gonna wanna run. So you plant the back of it right at the one edge, like so.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the crown a little bit out. If you can spread the roots, this will help you keep it in the soil a little better.
You don't want to add any fertilizer around the roots right now?
No, because the plant's going to be stressed. If you put fertilizer too close, you can burn and kill the plant. You want the plant to reach for the fertilizer and get it at its need. So that's why you notice the very first thing I did with this pot.
For a new plant we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because when we put the injector and you're only going about 1 inch below, you'll be hitting the roots right away.
Right. The lily that we're going to plant now is a winter hardy ISG that also tends to make deeper roots.
Okay. So that's why it doesn't have to have as long for the tuber to go.
That's why it doesn't have to have as long, and we're going to leave it to the height so it can send the roots down through. You saw with the last pot we did, we put the fertilizer in first at the very bottom because it's a solid plastic pot. This, because it's fabric and the nutrients can come in and out as they wish, if you put the fertilizer on the bottom, you're just going to send it to...
Got it. Yes. Yeah.
So the first thing you do, we say put the fertilizer in the bottom third. If we had aqua soil, we would use that. But we're using we got a little base of dirt at the bottom there. And in this case, since it's smaller, you don't need 2 to 3 tablespoons of the fertilizer, because then you are going to burn and kill the plant. So 1 tablespoon is more than enough. Keep it in the center at the bottom third depth of the pot. And I'll just mix it in a little bit in there, just to intentionally trying to keep it away from the edges. We also, when we send fertilizer to people, we also mix in peat moss with the mixture.
Okay.
The peat moss, being acidic, it helps the roots absorb the nutrients because it helps the plant itself break down the minerals and everything in the fertilizer to consume it better.
Okay, so we've got a couple of pots for the tropicals. They're already marked for me to plant them in there. Those go in the center. I got 4 big trays for the other lilies, and some of
all ISGs, not tropicals.
Okay, so they're not. So they're the hardy tropical mix.
Yep, they're ISGs, intersubgeneric winter hardy.
Say that again.
Intersubgeneric winter hardy lilies, ISGs.
That's what I got.
You see an ISG, that's what it means.
All right, next stop, Utah. Stop after that. We're gonna garden answer. How beautiful is this? Sedona, Arizona, where I asked my future bride, my wife of 25 years, that's how long ago this was, to marry me. And that was the first time that I've been in Sedona. And now this is the 3rd time passing through on my way to Flagstaff with a carload of water lilies. But look at the difference in the containers between these two. And this is ruffle. So this is
I love the name.
yeah. And what's cool about this one, it blooms 24/7. So once it starts blooming, it'll bloom the next 3 to 5 days, day and night, which is something I've never heard of until recently. So anyway, we're going to be doing some planting. I got some gravel, but right now I want to get these in the stock tank that we did. All we need is a wheelbarrow. First one in. Look at those beautiful pads. Give her a blow.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's closed now, but we'll get some, especially with all the fertilizer we put on here. Yeah. So we got. This was the awesome one.
These all have different color blooms.
All different color blooms.
Super heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. Slow.
Look at the color.
Yeah, that's the ruffle. That's the ruffle. So this is the 24-hour bloomer.
I love it.
I think this is that. This is them. Well, what they've got in there is about to go right in there. What's up? Oh, look at all the plants.
How's it going?
This is Joe and Jenny. So this is Joe and this is his wife Jenny from Nature Waterscapes out in Rancho Cucamonga, and this is Benjamin.
Benjamin. That's Joe. Nice to meet you.
So these were in your yard yesterday, right?
Well, they were in my aquatic nursery on Rancho Cucamonga. Let me get some of my stuff out. There's a process to it.
I see some pretty leaves. Oh my goodness.
All right, got some variegated sweet flag. This is going to be great for the wetland filter. Is this the water lily?
Yeah. So there's a special packaging process.
Oh really?
These lily pads do not like to be dry.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's a night bloomer. Is that night
So
bloomer?
this is our night bloomer.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and pull it out, Joe. Tomorrow we will repot it.
Yes, we will repot that,
And
but that's a
refertilize
nice
it.
one. And you can see the variegated leaves
Oh my gosh.
and then the veins in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you got, did you bring 2 lilies?
Here, this is our foxfire.
Oh, a foxfire, beautiful.
Foxfire.
Look at the leaves on this baby.
Your lily pads are going to grow as big as 30 inches.
Look at that.
Wide.
Look at that variegated
And at
pads.
full size, it'll be
Could go 10, 12 feet across.
Easy.
What color, is it a purple?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
and it's so big that it won't close in the evening. It'll stay partially open.
Oh.
But
That's a nice plant, Jenny.
thank you.
Good job.
Pretty. Oh.
Whoa! Come on! That's a lily.
What in the world?
What? Look at the size of that thing.
Put your hand in there. I got on the pad how big it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Those are. How'd you move these all the way over?
It's
here?
pretty impressive.
Oh,
You see why you want a big pond?
yes.
Yeah. So aren't those pads beautiful?
Look at how
And-
gorgeous.
yeah.
that is.
So this is a foxfire. And what was the night bloomer?
Night bloomer.
Oh,
Maroon
I love
blue.
the
It has 2
dark.
bulbs
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, burgundy leaves.
Wow, nothing like one up in the pond guy.
Yes, these are fully developed.
Holy cow.
These grow as big as 30 inches. It's a little tear in there, but
Those
that's
are
fine.
So
beautiful.
tomorrow we're going to repot these with Laura.
Yeah,
And-
we're gonna put some special Aquascape potting media in it, and we're gonna fertilize it and get it all ready for you. And I'll show you how to refertilize it, which you want to do every 2 weeks for the first couple of months, so it continues blooming all summer long.
Exciting new hobby. Welcome. Good job, Jenny. Just go up to the rim.
Hey, I can do it.
And if you had bigger koi, we would actually add bigger pebbles on top of that
Okay.
to help them not root around as much. And as long as there's no roots exposed, the koi typically leave it alone. One of the biggest problems that I see though with people with their water lilies is they don't have rock and gravel in the pond. And so the only place for the koi, which are basically carp, to root around in is in the gravel here. If you cover your entire pond of rock and gravel, which this is the service area for bacteria, they tend to leave the lilies alone.
Nice.
Now, if you had a pond that didn't have lilies, there's an exception to every rule, right? And you put a lily in there, the fish are going to start attacking it because they've never seen it before. It's something new. But in a new startup pond, you put in a rock and gravel filled pond, you put in lilies, you'll have no problem with your koi. All right, so that's good.
Wow.
So we already have the NutriCoat that we put in, which is once a year, but then this is a stick form that is another option as well. Put right in there.
Oh, nice.
And once again, I don't want it touching the roots. I want it to where the roots can grow to it.
Yeah.
This is always the fun part. It's like the decorations on the Christmas tree. So the tuber, the top of the lily should be between 12 and 16 inches below the surface. Ideally. There we go. Now the nice thing too, as they start growing, you can move these around. So this is exactly how you would do it in a pond, as Jenny's doing right now, but I use a little broom handle to just push down, make a hole, and then she's just using her fingers, and then push the tabs down. Once again, ideally not right up against the root, but where the roots will grow to it within, you know, a week or two. And this is like a shot of adrenaline, you know, with these plants. And I do this every couple weeks in my pond in season, because then you get more prolific bloomers. The blooming is what really takes the energy out of it, so it's good to have these. And then the time release fertilizer every spring.
And the purpose for the gravel is so that the potting media doesn't float to the surface, which is not going to because it's Aquascape potting media. And also, when you start adding your koi fish, they have a lot of time on their hands, so they're going to be bored and want to play around in there.
And a little trick, I always put the smaller stuff and then I cover it with also some of the gravel from the pond so it blends in, you don't see it.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah.
some of the bigger gravel as well. So this is a bare root plant and more of a hardy, and that's a tropical. Now this will get 3 times this size, but it will never get to that size. That's a pure tropical. This is an ISG, intersubgeneric.
Nice.
The tropicals are going to have the serrated edges, and then they have some serrations on the bottom.
Oh
so
my
there.
word, yes.